Is Bible School Radio, KDKR Decatur, Dallas, Fort Worth, and KYJC Commerce. Online at kdkr.org. Portions of KDKR programming do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or staff.
Prudent Money with Bob Brooks is sponsored by the Prudent Money Foundation on 91.3.
So what does the check engine light really tell you? Today we're going to take a look. Stay tuned for the special Car Corner edition of Prudent Money. This is Bob Brooks, and you are listening to this special Car Corner edition of Prudent Money. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I do appreciate it. Tony Joe's here with me, as he is every Friday, to take your Car Corner questions. The lines are open. The number to call is 1-877-913-5357. 1-877-913-5357. You can also go to the website at www.prudentmoney.com. Look for the Ask Bob section and send it in. Thank you, and we'll take your question and get back to you. 1-877-913-5357. Well, Tony Joe, make sure your mic's up here. There we go. I didn't have your mic out. I don't know if I do that subconsciously or not. We're still kind of figuring that out.
I think it's consciously. You don't want me to talk, but that's okay.
Okay, I got a question in sent to me through the Ask Bob section, and of course they're not asking me because it's a car repair question, and they don't want to know what my answer is to it. And so since I've got you here, I'll let you take a stab at it. She says that she's got a 2017 Compass, and there is a knocking noise either when she turns the fan on, the heater or the air conditioner, sometimes when she starts the car. Could this be the compressor on the heater? And if so, how much would it cost to get that fixed?
Well, if she's listening, I would like to first tell her that there's going to be a difference. That what she's describing could be either or, so I'm just going to tell her how to hopefully straighten it out. The noise you're hearing when you turn on the heater or the air conditioner should go away if you turn the AC off or the heater off. Turn it completely off, the noise should be gone. If it's the compressor, then it's going to still... if it's the compressor, the noise will stop completely. If it's the blower motor under the dash, which can also make that kind of a noise, then she will notice it change pitch if she turns up the speed 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back down. But when you turn the AC off, it doesn't shut the blower motor off completely. So let's say, Bob, that the blower motor noise is at low speed. Well, if you start it up, that blower motor is going to be running at low speed to circulate the air in the vehicle anyway. So we need to know one more step, which in an email we can't get that one more step because the person is not describing quite enough. But if you'll turn the AC button off and you don't hear any more noises, you can assume it's probably in the compressor. If you still hear the noise, you might have someone test or look at or get in there and see if the blower motor is making the noise. Because I have seen numerous objects, foreign material and objects, get drawn into the blower motor through the recirc vent and get caught in that blower motor wheel and cause knocking, squeals, all kinds of different noises. And that's not necessarily means you need a new motor. It means there's something in there rolling around.
I'm kind of guessing at this, and you can probably determine if I'm wrong or not. She writes behind the glove compartment on passenger side.
That would be the blower motor.
Okay, I forgot to tell you about that.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, man.
I just
Again, information I could have used a minute ago.
You can count on me.
No, but I would suspect that exactly where the blower motor is on that vehicle. So, yeah, I'd go there and start investigating.
I guess that's somewhat of a tough situation when someone comes in and they go, yeah, I've got this knocking sound, and then you take it out and drive it, and there's no knocking sound. What is the big what is the big mystery of that?
It's frustrating. Really, it is. I don't know. It used to be funny, and it seems like it would be funny, but people call me on the phone and say, I've got this terrible noise, or I got this light on in my car, and it's telling me, shut the engine off, and blah, blah, blah. And they're not too far. I go, all right, just start it up, shut it off, and let it rest for a minute, and then start it up, and bring it, try to limp it over here so I can take a look at it. And they go, as soon as I turned onto your street and went down your street, the light went off. It happens more than you think. It's just hilarious, but very mysterious as well.
You know, you told me
I tell them, just buy a house around here somewhere and, live here, and the light will probably stay off.
There you go. So I told you about, 4 or 5 weeks ago that my check engine light came on. Mm-hmm. And you said, just wait a couple weeks and see if it goes off. Mm-hmm. Sure enough, it went off. I don't know why it went off.
Well, I can tell you, I can enlighten some of the listeners on why that happens, just so you'll have the information. Number one, fuel. I have seen different fuels cause the check engine light to come on with certain codes that are not really hard codes, as we call them. They occur, and then after a certain number of drive cycles, I don't mean a certain number of times you drive the car down the street to get a soda pop and come back. I mean, a drive cycle consists of certain parameters that you have to meet in order to satisfy the computer's ability to say, okay, we've had the routine that runs all these monitors, we've checked everything, and it's good. Now, Bob, the reason that happens is because if there was like, say, the gas cap was left loose, or the fuel had more sulfur content than the other one, or a little more ethanol than it was supposed to have, and the computer reacted and saw this, it might throw a check engine light with a code. After initially, I'm going to guess, in a lot of cases, it's 40 drive cycles. Some are a lot less than that. Some manufacturers have changed it now, and they've gone down to 15. But somewhere in there, you got to drive at a certain number of drive cycles, and the light may go off because the computer has tested, retested again, and whatever was written into the software, after this many times and it tests good, it'll just, boom, turn the light off.
So out of the 100 or so years that you've been a mechanic...
106.
So at any rate...
Remember, I started at 6 years old.
Yeah, okay, that's right. So throughout all this illustrious history, mm-hmm. How many times has someone come in with their check engine light on? Do you automatically go check out the gas cap?
Well, if there is a code for what we call an evap system gross
leak,
then yes, I would first suspect the gas cap. But these codes don't tell you just check the gas cap. It gives you, I liken it to, I went in one time for an EKG, and the doctor read, it printed out, you know how it prints it out, and the doctor tears off this paper. This is back in the day, I guess. I don't know if they do this anymore. He tears off this paper, and he looks at it. And he's looking at it and studying it. And he said, I ought to put this up on the wall as I'm not bragging, I was young then, and I don't even know why I had to have an EKG, but I'm going to put this up as an ideal EKG chart, whatever,
mm-hmm.
How the things go up and down. I said, so that means it's good. He goes, yeah, it's very good. So I always remembered the day he did that, because scan data and codes they don't tell you what to do. People think that machine tells you what to fix. No, it doesn't. It gives you information, it gives you data, and it's up to the experience and knowledge of the guy reading the data to put it all together and come up with some kind of a conclusion or a prognosis. That's
So, have you've obviously seen those commercials where they advertise the handheld box that you can plug into your, I guess
your computer to your interface on your car, yeah.
and you can see exactly what's wrong, and you self-diagnose it and you fix it. I mean, does that just drive you crazy when you see those?
Well, it's an advertising ploy. It's a merchandising thing, and they can sell those little devices, and it can read codes. But remember, codes don't give you the whole story, but at least you have the ability to do that for your $60 or whatever.
I think it's like $99.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind the stuff the professionals use are not $60. They're $10,000. So there's
That's
a little bit
unbelievable.
more sophistication to the equipment needed in our cases to really communicate. It's a bidirectional communication system where not only can we see what the computer's doing and what it is requesting or the data that it's giving, we can also talk to it. We can talk back to it.
Right.
We can put functions through there and make things work. And I mean, it's way more sophisticated than just a code reader.
This is Bob Brooks, and you are listening to the special Car Corner edition of Prudent Money. 1-877-913-5357. We've got about 30 seconds until break. Tell how many different codes could come up?
How many different codes are there on an average car?
No, on a machine. If you're plugging it in to check the check engine light.
Oh, it's Bob. There's hundreds of different codes, and how many of them are going to come up? On average, you're going to get one or two if you have a problem with your car. But if you have some circuit problem, you can see 30 codes.
This is Bob Brooks. You're listening to the special Car Corner edition of Prudent Money. Boone from Arlington, hang on. We'll get you on the other side of the break. This is Bob Brooks. We'll be right back.
The Word for Today is excited to announce the new official online home for the ministry of Pastor Chuck Smith and Kay Smith, PastorChuck.org. At PastorChuck.org, you'll have instant access to thousands of hours of verse-by-verse teaching by Pastor Chuck Smith from Genesis through Revelation, and full access to special messages on subjects such as prophecy and much, much more. Also at PastorChuck.org, a full library of great teachings by Kay Smith, and a section where you can read some of Pastor Chuck's books online, all free of charge. So visit the new official online home of the Word for Today and the ministry of Pastor Chuck and Kay Smith, PastorChuck.org.
The life of David is a fascinating story of great spiritual success and notable failure as well. This week on A New Beginning, Pastor Greg Laurie helps us learn from David's ups and downs as he launches a series called House of David. Be sure to tune in each day for A New Beginning with Pastor Greg Laurie.
A New Beginning, weekday mornings at 7:30, here on KDKR.
Hi, this is Kirby Anderson with the Point of View Radio Talk Show. I want to invite you to listen to our program on KDKR from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday. We look at various issues from a biblical perspective. Our topics range from politics and economics to the Bible, theology, and apologetics. We also bring authors and informed experts to the program. We talk about anything that affects your faith, your family, or your freedom. Hope you'll join us every day on Point of View right here on Bible School Radio 91.3.
Welcome back. This is Bob Brooks, and you are listening to the special Car Corner edition of Prudent Money. 1-877-913-5357. Let's talk to Boone from Arlington. Boone, thank you for waiting. What's on your mind today?
Hey, I just wanted to say thank you for your program, and I appreciate it. I'm having an issue with my truck. It's a 2011 Dodge 1500. Got the 5.7 in it. When I'm at a stop, it idles fine, but I go to push the gas just a little bit, and it could die. or it could hesitate before it picks up. And it's starting to get worse.
Okay. Boone, do you have a check engine light on at this time?
No.
Okay. How many miles do you have on the vehicle?
Oh, I got 147,000 on it. I replaced the cam at about 100,000 miles, and I replaced the TIPM about 35,000 miles.
What about the last time you installed plugs in that thing?
I done that when I replaced the cam. It was about 47,000 miles ago.
Okay. And you put in, did you replace them with the OEM Champions it comes with? Did you replace them with the OEM plug, or did you use something else?
No, I used OEM plugs.
Yeah, okay. Now, if you have a hesitation on acceleration, or sometimes you say it will actually die completely, right?
Yes.
Where you have to restart it.
Yes.
All right. Do you know where does it idle okay?
It idles okay, and this doesn't happen right when I first started. When it warms up is when it starts doing it.
Okay. Then, okay, so it doesn't do this until after the vehicle is warmed up. That tells me something. Think about this for a minute. You sound mechanical enough, and, you probably know a little bit, so I'm going to explain something to you. When the car starts cold in the morning, the idle's higher than normal, and certain parameters are set in stone, and because of the way Dodge designs their vehicle, you're going to run okay, like you're saying. It runs okay when you first start it cold. After it warms up, what's the difference? What happens after it warms up to cause this? Well, the computer itself goes into closed loop and starts looking at all the sensors. You with me?
Yes, sir.
So, if it's okay when it's cold, that means on its set instructions for cold operation, everything's working. What is not working properly is, for instance, during cold operation, the computer is not even looking at the oxygen sensors or anything like that. It's ignoring all that. It's a pre-written set of instructions in the software. Now, once it warms up, the computer starts to evaluate all the sensor data that it has. It takes in oxygen sensor readings, throttle position, how much gas you're giving it, temperature, mass, air density, how much airflow is going through the throttle body. All these things are now looked at. So there's something wrong there. Even though you don't have a check engine light, it would be, do you have the ability or a friend who has any way to look at the computer stuff?
As far as a thing that you hook up to read the code?
Well, more than just reading the codes, you got to look at the data. You've got to see what's actually going on, because for some reason you've got an intermittent problem that is not throwing a check engine light. And I'm hesitant to say what it is because it could be so many things. With the mileage you have on the vehicle, let's suppose you've got a weak fuel pump starting to go bad. Sometimes when you give it to gas, it's going to hesitate. And then other times it may not. It's just going to depend on fuel pressure. You got to read some of this information to figure out what's going on. Have you owned this truck since it was new?
No, I purchased it when it had about 29,000 miles on it. I don't buy new vehicles anymore.
Good for you.
It's a waste of money.
Pretty much, though, you've had it its whole life. So, okay. There's something to be said about I like to diagnose the problem as you will want somebody to do. And if you don't have any friends or anything that can help you with that, then unfortunately, I would say this to you. You're going to have to take it to someone who has the capability to diagnose the problem. Not that you're going to fix anything. You're not going to spend any money yet other than a diagnostic fee, but somebody's going to have to determine what's going on. I predict that you probably have a weak fuel pump or something like that, because it's not throwing a check engine light like it's a bad sensor or something, but it is giving you this hesitation and it doesn't always occur at the same time, and it never does it when it's cold. So there's too many factors that it could be this, or this. So that's when we have to actually look at data while the vehicle's running so we can guide us to the right area so we don't just blow money on parts trying this and that. You
Right.
understand that's the best way to approach it. And since you don't have any other way to do it, you can't do it by yourself. You're going to have to hire somebody or pay somebody with the equipment to give you an opinion on what's wrong with your truck. That's step one. From there, you can call me back any Friday. Call me and we'll talk about it, and let's see if it makes sense.
There's one other thing that I did have the evap light code about 3 or 4, 5, 6 days ago, and I put on my code reader and reset it after I cleaned my gas cap, and it hasn't come back on. So.
And that was an evap code of some kind, P04 or something.
Yeah, it was a 0441.
Yeah, 441.
I looked it up, and it seemed to be a gas cap issue, so that's what I did.
Okay, and it has not come back on with that code again?
It has not.
Okay. The
No,
evap system generally, there is one case where it could give you a hesitation, but generally not. That's a pollution device problem that it allows you to emit more out of the tailpipe. And so I'm going to say that's probably not related to your hesitation that you're getting.
Okay.
With a code reader, you can't do much. As we were talking previously in the program, that's why you need some way to acquire the data from the computer to see if you can isolate the exact problem and not have to spend guesswork money. You know what I mean? That's
right.
Just as,
Do you have this ability at your shop?
Yeah, we do. Now, you're over
maybe I
in
can get
Arlington, though. Let me just say this.
Yes.
We don't promote on this radio show. We don't promote
I
any business.
understand that.
But, Arlington is a long way. There's got to be a place that has the capability to diagnose this problem without you driving all the way over. But it's up to you. I'm not dissuading you in any way. I'm just saying it's probably easier to get it diagnosed somewhere, and you can certainly call me, and I can give you at least my opinion on whether that even makes sense, and what do they want to fix it, and does that make sense, and that kind of thing.
Well,
I can help you that way, too.
I tend to do business with people I trust, and I think I trust you. So, if I could get your address when we get off the phone or we get off the air here, I'll just swing over tomorrow if you're open on tomorrow.
Okay, that'll be fine. Thank you very much.
So,
Let me.
that'll work.
Okay. Let me say this. First of all, thank you for your call. God bless you. And we will have to, what, Bob? How do you handle something like that?
Hey, Boone, just send an email to bob@prudentmoney.com or the Ask Bob section at the website, prudentmoney.com.
Okay.
Okay?
I'll do that as soon as I get stopped.
Okay, we'll get you
right.
taken care of.
Thank you, Moon.
I appreciate you.
This is Bob Brooks, and you are listening to the special Car Corner edition of Prudent Money. One of the reasons, just so that you know, we don't talk about this often, but we don't, just due to FCC rules and regs, we don't promote because we're on nonprofit Christian radio. So that's the reason for Tony Joe's hesitancy, because we're not promoting, we're just educating, talking about what you need to know in certain situations. And, I give Tony Joe a day a week to come up here. No, I'm very blessed to get to have Tony Joe step in and get to visit a little bit and do the radio show. It's been a long time.
Stepping in, weighing in. You have a way with words, Bob. You have a way with the King's English, I must say.
So I wonder how many people are listening who remember Don Spear. And, that's a long time ago.
That would be interesting sometime if somebody maybe on a program would call in. And how many people do you think remember Don Spear? He started this.
Yeah, back in the early 90s, right?
Right, this program. And, well,
Money-
actually, 78 is...
Oh, he was 78?
78.
He used to call it Money Talk.
Yep, Money Talk. Yep, Money Talk.
And
with
then
Don
you
Spear.
started with him early 90s.
You know what's a funny, really quick, if we can take a minute? You know what's really funny? Don Spear was a customer of mine at my garage, and I didn't know who he was. But I listened to 91. Well, I'll tell it sometime, but it's an interesting story.
This is Bob Brooks. If you got a question for me, please go to the website at prudentmoney.com and send it in because we are all out of time. Till we do meet again next time, keep the faith and have a great rest of the day.
That's all the time we have for today. Questions or comments for Bob, or to find out more great information like what you've just heard, visit www.prudentmoney.com. Be sure to join Bob Brooks again for the next edition of Prudent Money.